Our guest is Bruce McClary, Senior Vice President of Membership and Communications for the National Foundation for Credit Counseling. Welcome, Bruce.
Hi, David. It's great to be on the program.
Good to have you. So, why does inflation pose such a significant challenge for retirees?
Yeah, inflation poses a very significant challenge for retirees. Retirees have been hardest hit by the inflationary pressures that are happening right now, more so than any other segment of the population. And a little bit of insight into that is the fact that recent data showed that the cost of the impact of inflation has increased people's monthly expenses by up to $300. And if you think about that in terms of somebody who is living on a fixed income, has a finite amount of options to adjust their income, and really can't adapt in that way, it places a lot of pressure on seniors because then they have to look to other ways to manage the debt that they're carrying and to take care of the necessary expenses, the healthcare, transportation costs, food, all of which are increasing. So it's very difficult under those circumstances when you think about that $300 monthly average impact on people's budgets right now.
Well, and to further your point, the challenge is, you said, about finite resources, finite income. And so if they are forced to draw more on their savings or those sources of income or assets that are producing income, it's a little bit of eating the cow today that you need to get milk from tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. And I always say that when you're talking about budgeting in your retirement years, it's all about cash flow, and you have to keep your eye on the cash flow where things are now and where you want things to be later on. And you like you indicated just a moment ago, what you take today won't be there tomorrow. So you have to be very, very careful about the choices you make when you're having to make those difficult choices when the cost of living increases.
Well, and so we've also got a whole nother component to this, which is, as you know, when inflation picks up, the response from the policymakers, the Federal Reserve, the government, is to try to bring that down and keep inflation from becoming really significant or a real problem, not that it can't be even at a lower level. And so we see interest rates also start to rise. And so you have kind of these twin tornadoes affecting retirees. So how about the impact specifically on rising interest rates for retirees?
Yeah, it is a double whammy because you have the cost of living that you're having to deal with and the increases at the grocery store, at the gas pump, in day-to-day life that are putting that financial pressure on you there. But then if you're carrying certain forms of debt, you're going to feel the gut punch in the wallet when it comes to the interest rate increases. When the Fed raises interest rates, it can impact your credit card interest, it can impact your mortgage interest. So those are areas where people are going to be paying a little bit more as well. And during this period of time where we're attempting to lower inflation by raising those interest rates, it is a double whammy, and that's creating additional pressure. So it's really a tough time right now to be a retiree.
Are those forms of debt you just mentioned the principal problems for retirees? What are some of the biggest forms of debt that really create an issue?
Well, the debt that's the biggest problem is the non-collateralized debt, which is typically higher interest. So you have your revolving credit card accounts, which are higher interest rate loans. And seniors are carrying a decent amount of credit card debt right now, and some of them are struggling with that. It's more difficult to repay. You get into that cycle with revolving debt and the higher interest rates. Right now, the average interest rate on a credit card is just north of 16%. That's pretty steep. And if you're carrying a lot of debt from month to month, that can be costly. So that's, I think, the most troublesome debt for seniors right now is that higher interest rate, costlier debt that they're carrying.
Well, I know you're also familiar, Bruce, with another recent statistic that something like 40% of Americans can't come up with like $400 at some dollar amount like that quickly. So not only is that, of course, indicative of other challenges and problems, but a lot of those people are retirees, a lot of those people are low income, and if they can't come up with the $400 in cash, you and I both know what's going to be next for them to turn to.
Right, right. And over the past decade, the amount of debt that seniors have been carrying, retirees have been carrying, has nearly doubled. It's incredible how much debt people are carrying into retirement. So if you think about the amount of debt people are carrying and what impact that has on somebody's ability to prioritize personal savings and to put money aside for emergencies and day-to-day living, it pretty much chokes out any possibility of somebody who's already living on the edge to be able to find room in their budget to put away money for savings. So that's where you end up getting in a situation where, in absence of savings, you turn to an available line of credit as a safety net.
Yeah. So what should somebody do who's having problems with debt already, notwithstanding some of the things we've already talked about that are coming on the horizon? Any quick tips that somebody should look at?
Yeah, well, there's a couple of things. It depends on where you are in your timeline. If you're approaching retirement, I hate to say this, it pains me to say this, but you may want to think about delaying retirement to pay down some of that higher interest, higher dollar amount debt. If you're already retired, then you need to look at ways to optimize the terms of the debt that you're repaying. You may have to restructure some of that debt, and it could be in the form of consolidating loans or using balance transfers on credit card accounts to get better interest rates. Whatever you can do there to save money here and there on each of those accounts, I think is going to help you out bottom line.
Excellent. Bruce McClary, glad to have you, National Foundation for Credit Counseling. More information available at nfcc.org. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.